device. Close any of the apps. Hold on.
Okay. I see you. It just says device not connected. You have to connect your mic cam.
Why is it doing that? Hold on a second. It's doing some crazy stuff.
Technical difficulties.
Come on. Why is not? That doesn't make any sense. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna log out and go back in.
Okay. We're having technical difficulties, people. Bear with us. Let's see. We're getting some stuff going. Hopefully he's able to log back in. We shall see. The good thing about, today, I think we got something. I think we got something.
Yeah, it made me go all the way out and go back in.
Did it really?
Yeah, I had to reboot my whole phone.
Oh no. Yeah. That's technology for you. Because I was just like, I don't see him in here at all. So, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Fine.
We good. We good.
We good. We have service technology in our favor. That is
yes. Yes.
Okay. So I am going to kind of really dive right into it, but I want you to introduce yourself to the world and what inspired you to do what you're doing now.
Okay, well, my name is Wardell Richardson, actor, producer, director, writer, and host of WCEG Wood, the Hollywood of the South. I just love what I do. It's amazing. It's been an amazing journey. I started off as just an actor, progressed into a director, then started producing, then started writing, and now I was offered a radio show and took it, and it just blew up. So I've been really enjoying my life. It's been great.
Look at God.
Hey, that's how he works.
So I know that we're both kind of in this industry of entertainment, and working in that industry, meeting a plethora of different personalities and work ethics and all that jazz. I really wanted to talk about the importance of mental and emotional availability and vulnerability.
Right.
In a relationship, or when you are actively seeking during the dating process. How important is that? Why is it important? And how often do people actually do it? And do they find value in it?
Being in a relationship in this industry is difficult as it is. You have to find somebody who is in tune with you and understands you. And I think a lot of time people don't take the time to understand the person that they're involved with. They just ready to jump into it. And then if you have issues, they point out the issues and, back and forth. but it takes time to just sit, listen, and understand what a person is dealing with, their past, their, what their goals are in their futures. And when you start listening and understanding the person, that brings in the emotional part, that brings in the supportive part. But relationships as a whole, even in this industry, I know that we are not made for everybody. We just not made for everybody. Right. And I say this a lot. I do a lot of relationship panels, and I say this to a lot of people because if there's a person that's insecure in any kind of way with what we do, it's just not going to work. It's not going to work. And our schedules are just all over the place. So, like for instance, if you're a woman who wants to see your man at home for dinner every day at a certain time, I'm not the guy for you. I'm just not. I work a full-time job, then I get off and I can be on set filming something later that evening. I can be shooting a commercial. I can be directing something. It all depends on, what I'm called for. And then you got the other stuff on top of that, your radio show. You got to make appearances here and appearances there. And it's just a lot. And so it takes a special kind of person to understand your goals and your dreams and want to ride with you instead of going against you.
I agree. The schedules can be crazy. The schedules can be hectic. And I think I like to use this term, finding your purpose partner.
Correct.
So, and when you understand your purpose and what it is that you want to do in the world, and you are secure within yourself, right? You've done the work. When you're actively dating, you want to look for someone who can be your purpose partner.
Absolutely.
Because things change. Like, for example, my schedule was absolutely insane as a sports journalist for ESPN, right? Right. And I was going to, so you can be insecure because I'm around athletes all the time. You can, and I've dated someone who was just like, you going where? You going to an after party? Do you have to go to that after party? Why do you have to? Is there no do you have to travel for that game? You have to, like, all these different types of questions, right? Right. So that was insanely crazy. However, I'm not doing that anymore. But my purpose, though different to a certain degree, it is still consistent. It was important to me as a sports journalist to talk to the athletes to find out where they are mentally, emotionally, on and off the court, and ask them a lot of questions and interact and basically socialize, which is what I do now. It's just packaged differently. So if someone cares about my purpose and they have somewhat on the same purpose, and we're on this journey together, right, then we are going to evolve and grow. But the foundation needs to be the same. Right. And the thing that I've found is that there's so many people who are not doing their internal work. And so they're not necessarily looking for their purpose partner. They're looking for someone to complete them. Exactly. They're looking for somebody to fill in a void.
You hit the nail on the head with that one. Right? You hit the nail on the head.
How often do you hear that in relationships or on your show?
You know what? I don't hear it that often.
Really?
I don't hear it that often.
Purpose partner?
No one really talks about a perfect partner. People talk about, it's always about someone who can fulfill something, what you just said, someone who can fulfill some type of need or something that they're lacking or missing, or someone that somewhat embodies the person that they feel like they want to be with or need, in their life. It's interesting because, I'm a different type of guy. So if my woman is around a whole bunch of men, if my woman is around a whole bunch of men, I expect her to get hit on. If she doesn't, I think something's wrong. Like, why ain't they hitting on you? What's the problem? I'm just that type of guy. But I think that you have to know who you are as a person, and if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, because I think a lot of people are not comfortable with themselves. So when a person they're with exudes all this intellect and beauty and everything, then they get insecure when they go out around other people because they feel like they're lacking where someone else can come in and be fulfilling that place that they're lacking in.
Right.
And that's just that I truly feel that way as men, especially men when they have a beautiful woman. That's why I say all the time, guys always talk about they want these beautiful women and stuff. And I'm like, are you ready for a beautiful woman? Like a beautiful woman that's smart and know what she wants. Are you ready for that? Because if you're not, she's going to leave you in the dust. You're going to be just sitting there. And a lot of guys feel like they can come in and try to change your focus and try to control the whole situation. I see a lot of guys doing that. You can't do that. You have to be a team. You have to want to see her exude, and she has to want to see you exude, and y'all help each other get there. If you have a way of getting her higher on her level, do that. I think a lot of guys also fear a woman who makes more money or has more spotlight than they do. They become very insecure with that. And to me, I feel I'm just like, if y'all really trying to make something work, it's all you in the same boat, y'all together. If she grows, you're gonna grow. If I grow, she's gonna grow. That's the way I see it. But a lot of people, this industry is just such a shifty thing, and it's hard to find someone who really understands and want to take that ride with you.
Yeah, I notice a lot of people say, I don't want to date anybody in the same industry as me. I want somebody like completely different. I want, if you have these,
and it won't work.
It's just like, I want a Joe Schmo, somebody that will still support me, who doesn't have all this attention, and that doesn't support me. And I understand the wanting that, you know what I mean? But then I can also understand how that doesn't work, because not everyone is going to understand the passion that you have for your career. And it's not their dream, it's your dream. So even though they can support you, there's only a levels of support in their humanness, right? That they give. And I think when it comes to dating, people don't do their internal work, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And when I say that, I say, for me, let's just use me as the guinea pig example, right? When I'm dating, it's just like, okay, I know where I am. I know the work that I've done on me. I know the areas I'm able to articulate and vocalize, the areas where I feel like are my challenges and my weak spots, where I can say, this is where these areas are not my strong suit. I'd be able to tell someone else. Two, I know what my goals are. I know what the vision is for my life. I am not looking for someone to complete me. I can identify where I add value to someone's life and how they can be better by being with me. And I can also articulate my love language and what I require and what my needs are, right? And I am understanding that I require grace and patience and mercy with the Lord above. So if I and myself need that, I need to be able to give that too, because no one's a mind reader, and people will compromise and learn you, but that takes time, right? As they learn you, the importance of learning is understanding that while you learn, you make mistakes. So I go into my dating process knowing that as people get to know me, with the time that it takes, there needs to be an allotted amount of time for grace, compassion, healthy communication, effective communication, and forgiveness, because they're going to make mistakes, right? And that's how they're going to learn. They don't know that there are certain things that you don't like, or they may not know what your triggers are. They may not know, so they're going to learn that. And if you have a hot temper, and you go into a sandwich, you have to know how to treat me. You have to know.
Right.
Yeah, every woman is different.
Yeah.
You know,
Everyone.
and vice versa. So when you have, if I am very intentional when it comes to dating, right? I'm not asking for perfection. I'm asking for someone to show up authentically as their best self. I think that this thing called life is consistently evolving, and you're always
Yes, it
changing,
is.
and you're on a journey. And I would invite someone to go onto this journey alongside of me, right? And meet me where I am, and I meet him where he is. However,
Right.
if you have not put in the effort for you, for your mental, emotional stability, right? Then you are going to be no good to me, because you're not going to be able to teach me how to treat you, because your actions don't show me that. I can teach you how to treat me by how I treat myself. If you just watch how I treat me, you'll know what I like.
Yeah.
I can say it to you verbally, but you'll know what I like. But if someone hasn't done their internal work, right? Why are you dating? How are you going to be my purpose partner? How, like, you're not even on your own path and your own journey. You're like stuck.
Yeah, I think people still trying to figure out who they are. And the thing is, someone asked me before, if you look in the mirror and ask yourself, would you date yourself? What would you say?
But yes, absolutely.
Hey, now I would say back in the day, back in my 20s, nah, I wouldn't date me. But when I got older and more mature and understood, what you said, love language, and understood the essence of what a relationship is biblically, and the essence of what a relationship is that I need, what I need from a person, you kind of change your whole perspective of life. Change everything about you, everything about what you stand for changes, and you get very cutthroat with people that you deal with, because you know right off the bat if you can deal with them or not. You can figure that out within a day, within hours in most cases. If a person is gonna meet your needs, and we all have a certain standard of need that we need in a relationship, but sometimes though some of those people that try to talk to you and try to get involved with you, they still trying to figure themselves out. They trying to figure out if they be with you, would you be the one that can make them better, or would you be able to be the one that can get their head straight? Now, I will say, for me, I love a woman that can teach me some things, because a man, I don't know everything. I can start a business. I can do a whole bunch of different things, but when it comes to paperwork and all that, that's not my area of expertise. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, if I get a woman that come in and say, hey, I got this for you, boom, boom. I'm like, okay, all right, we can do some things, And it's that kind of thing that I love about women, because I say this all the time, and I will always forever say this, that a man is not fully in his most complete state without a good woman by his side. All day, every day. Damon Dash, I saw an interview Damon Dash did on the radio show before, and he said, all you guys need to start getting your homeboys and stuff like that to come in and be your partners in these businesses, and they fail. You need to get you a good woman who gonna do that business with you. You know why? He said, because that woman ain't gonna let you fail.
Right.
She is not gonna let you fail. She is gonna do everything in her will to make sure that business stand the test of times. And I thought about that. So I did, I started doing my own research and checking some things out. And most women who have businesses, they businesses stand a long period of time. Whereas a lot of business who are started with men and they stick to their buddies and stuff, they fail. And I really did I did some research on that. I said, okay, there's something to that. So, and I think that, the number one thing that anybody needs to do is know who they are as a person. You need to know what your love language is. You need to know the things that make you upset. You need to know the things that make you sad. You need to know the things that make you happy. You need to know, you need to understand your history, how you was raised, why you feel some kind of way when a certain position is done sexually or anything like those things, because sex is important. A lot of people don't like to touch it, but it's important. And so, and a lot of women have been raped, molested growing up, and they feel like they don't move past it until they get into a situation with a guy, and y'all are maybe getting intimate or something, and he do something that kind of remind you of something. Yeah, trigger. And the next thing you know, you just bust out crying or something. Or, I had a friend that said that happened to him. Kind of find out she was she was raped and molested and stuff. I'm like, man, when you get deep into a relationship, you have to talk about those things, or you have to find help and get a counselor. And I think at us as Black people, whenever you say counselor or a therapist or something, you feel like you sick and you have a problem, but you don't. There is nothing wrong with getting help. There's nothing wrong with wanting to better yourself, and that's what I say to anybody. Go see somebody. If you gotta sit down and talk to somebody, get some stuff out that's not judgmental. That can give you some good advice. Do that. And the world don't need to know what you're doing behind closed doors.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I always say that a form of counsel is just watering the seeds in your heart. You have to be able to grow. And if your heart is hardened, then growth is not going to go past that, because it's concrete.
Right.
And even though you can flourish, you don't have to make your roses grow out of concrete if you don't want to.
That is so true.
You know what I mean?
So true. Yeah.
And I know that a lot of people don't. There's a big stigma of doing it, but believe it or not, I actually counsel a lot of men and women and couples together. But then also I encourage them to do it separately as well, because there are certain things that happen with the other that they're not ready to share in front of the person they're dating or their spouse. It's not something they've talked about yet.
Right.
So I think that that's really important. And yeah, that's what I mean when I say effective communication, that needs to be had on both ends, right? Because, for example, I've had someone, and I've learned it the hard way, that you have to communicate, your likes and your dislikes in the bedroom, because with me being a child trafficking survivor and dealing with sexual abuse majority of my whole childhood life, there's a lot of things. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I say, oh, these are my non-negotiables. These are the things that I can't do. And for a while, it took me a while to express those verbally, because I didn't want someone to say, oh, she has all these rules in the bedroom, or you can't do this, or you can't do that, or whatever case may have you. So it's really important for me to understand that in order for me to be loved the way I need to be and cared for the way that I need to be, I need to love myself enough to speak up for myself and discuss my wants and the things that I'm comfortable with, right? And then I also need to be vulnerable enough to do that, right? And be able to communicate that as effectively as possible. But then also, it's important for me to have someone who listens to hear and hears to understand. Not just listening to just say, yeah, okay, I hear you. Let's move on. But to really understand and have some grace for me and compassion for me, and be, loving and tender when it comes to me, right? But it took a little bit of time. And I think a lot of people, they don't use the dating process to learn one another. They don't use that dating process to have those conversations, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've been told that sometimes when you apply abstinence and you just completely take sex out of the picture and just say, I'm not doing it,
Mm-hmm.
then you just open up the floodgates for conversation. All you gonna do is talk. You ain't doing nothing. You ain't getting nothing over here, so you better talk. Right? So that's a way of helping. But I also, like I said, yeah, people doing their own work. It's not as much of a taboo, especially with women, to get counseling or to get therapy and go back and work on that, because you're right. You come to the table, she comes to the table, and you guys have two completely separate life experiences.
Right.
And your conditioned programming affects your behavioral habits that may not support who you want to be as an adult. And you have to learn and peel back those layers and learn, this is not who I am. These are the things that I've been taught. Is this
Right.
who I want to be as an adult? Because you
Yeah.
had an imperfect person show you a lot and teach you a lot and be the example. But as an adult, it's our responsibility when we're looking for love and when we're looking for our purpose partner to make sure that we are showing up as the people we are, the people that we want to be in our healed self, or at least on the journey of our healed self, because you don't have to be this perfectly healed person to receive love, because we're all growing in ages and stages and phases, right?
Right.
But when you take the time to understand that and say, you know, I'm not going to bring my grandfather or my grandmother's way of life or my parents' way of life, you know, into this relationship, then that takes time to getting to know you. What kind of relationship do you want? How do you want to raise your children?
Right.
You know, how do you want to conduct business? What does intimacy look like for you? I had to learn what intimacy looks like. I had to learn a completely new way of intimacy, what that looks like with someone else. And I was extremely fragile in that.
I'm sure that was hard for you after everything you say you've been through. Because you're a different type of person too, I can tell, because you're able now to talk about everything without, actually feeling some kind of way and getting sensitive about it. You push past it, and a lot of women still go through a lot of that turmoil and stuff, and you may still go through it at times. But it's, I've one of my platforms is human trafficking. In fact, I have a friend of mine who her child was trafficked, and her daughter was able to get away and call her, but they still had her, and she knew where she was, and the police wouldn't go and get her. And she got to the point where she said, if you don't go, I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna, because she was at a motel, and she was telling the police, go and find her. She's in there, and they're like, well, we just can't go knocking on every door. She said, well, if you don't, I'm going to. And so that's what made the police go and do it. And when they did it, they found a whole human trafficking ring going on in that motel, all because she forced them. She had to force them to go up there, and she got her daughter back. So it's a crazy situation, because that type of that whole ring of trafficking, and it's such a hard place, because there's so many political big people involved in that whole thing, and nobody want to touch it. So the fact that you were able to get out of that, and here today, I applaud you for that, because that's a tough road. I'm sure that was a tough road to go through.
It was work.
Oh,
it was work, and I had to believe that I was worth the work, because I had to. It does definitely mess with my self-esteem and my worth and what love looked like, what intimacy looked like. Do I even like sex with someone? How do I, do I even tell a guy that I've been through some of the things? Am I damaged goods? Is anyone going to want me after all of this?
Wow.
How can I judge my family? Because I'm like, what kind of family do you have that would, I don't want to be attached to that family. It's so much. And, I had to take the time to understand, to forgive myself, right? For being so hard on myself, to take off the shame, right? To take off the guilt and understand that I am more valuable than someone's sexual pleasure. I'm not an object for someone's sexual pleasure.
Exactly.
I don't belong to someone. No one owns me other than, my God, who spilled his blood for me, right?
Absolutely.
I am, it's okay for me to speak up for myself. It's okay for me to say no. It's okay for me to lose people that don't respect who I am and my no the first time. You know what I mean? That was a lot of work in how I can start being in relationships. And one thing that I notice is that a lot of people don't want to do that hard work. They feel like I could just show my representative. And I say that because I used to do that, right? I used to be like, let me get all my degrees. Like I have 3 degrees. I'm as cool. I have my eye. And, I created all these, accolades and accomplishments and stuff to just say, see, I'm shiny, I'm worthy, I'm all of these things. And that's just the stuff. But when you take away the stuff, how did I actually feel about myself? My self-esteem was low. And because I didn't understand that I was worthy of a lot of the things that I was asking for without all of the stuff. And I didn't do the internal work to understand my value and then also understand what I had to offer. But I had to invest that into myself. And we have so many broken children in adult bodies trying to look for their parents in a spouse.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And I think people who are having children, especially at this day, age, and time, I have a daughter, and my daughter is, and I'm not even, every time I go somewhere, she draws attention because she's just such a pretty little girl. And so I always think to myself, every time I'm looking around, trying to see who's looking at my daughter, all that kind of stuff. And she's only 4, she'll be 5 this year, and it just changes your perspective, when you have a daughter. I feel sorry for anybody who comes across my daughter. I feel sorry because I'm a whole different type of beast when it comes to my children, and I have a son as well. He's doing very well. I'm very protective of him too, but the little girl, it's a whole nother thing, and she's a daddy's girl, so she's all over me all the time. So it's like, I can't, I'm already prepared in my mind. I'm like, okay, what do I do when I see this, or when this happened, or when that happened? I'm already preparing myself for when certain things happen, and she still got some years to go. But for me, with what's going on in the world today and how crazy things are, it can happen as young as 4, and it's heartbreaking to see things like that. It's heartbreaking to see what's happening to children. I think men, all these men out here who have children, you need to take care of your kids, period. They need their father. They need to know their father has their back. A lot of women is looking for love in other places from what their father didn't give them. Right. So they looking for somebody else who can be their daddy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I said that, to me, is screaming trauma bond. Right. And I talk about that often. You have the girl with the daddy issues, right?
Oh yeah.
And you have the guy with the mommy issues. I've dated a
Mhm.
guy with mommy issues. You know what I mean? Um, and then I've also dated a guy who's been, abused when he was young, and his mother,
Mhm.
he lived in a house where there was a lot of domestic violence towards his mother and a lot of violence towards them as kids. And so, he just like gravitated to me as like this healer, like, oh my God, like I can find everything I couldn't find in my mother and her, type of thing.
Right. Right.
And you get that. You get two broken people together,
Mhm.
right? Thinking that, oh, I can find myself in you, or I can find myself into you. And now you have a toxic relationship that
Yeah.
was built on the foundation of a trauma bond. You are
Right.
bonding because you both have been traumatized, but it is toxic because neither of you have done your internal work. You are
Right.
shattered in broken pieces and floating on water, and it will never come together to make sense as a whole
That is
because
deep.
you're not doing your part,
Right.
and you're trying to beat as a whole heart, as one, but you cannot, because you don't even know yourself.
Exactly. And
And
like we
the
said earlier, the
person doesn't know themselves either.
most important thing is knowing yourself. You gotta know yourself. You can't. And then when you get into a relationship, when I get into one, it's all about what I can do to make the person's life better. That's all I think about the entire time. What I
Mhm.
can give to the person. I never once think about what I can get back from the person. And I'm not a judging person. I let a person be who they are. I'm not here to change anybody. Do you? I want to see if what you do works for me. I don't want the representative. Keep doing your thing. You
Mhm.
know, and when I deal with people, a lot of people say you're nothing like. I get that this all the time. You're nothing like I thought you would be. I'm like, well, what did you think I would be?
Mhm.
I'm just me. I don't know how to be nobody else. I can't pretend. I'm 100% real about everything that comes out of my mouth. So, in fact, some of my friends call me, brutally honest, but I'm just
Good. I think you should.
I'm just real. Like, I don't know. One thing a person will always know about me is I never had anybody tell me that I was a liar. You know, unless they were insecure and didn't want to believe the truth. you know,
Yeah.
but I'm always 100% real about everything. If I say I'm here, I'm there. If I did this, then I did that. I don't bend the root. I don't bend the pole. I don't do any of that. I don't beat around the bush. And I'm just raw with it. And a lot of people can deal with that. A lot of people can't. And so when it comes to that balance, I like to have a person who's understanding of who I am as a person and want to believe, because a lot of people get in relationships and they don't want to believe that the person is a good person. They expecting you to do something, expecting you to cheat, expecting you to be abusive,
That's just
expect,
expecting.
yeah, they're expecting that. But if you focus more on the positive, if you just focus on what's good about that person could be the best thing for you.
Yeah.
You just never know. So you just have to. I think patience is a virtue. You have to take the time to understand who you're with. You have to understand, and I say this a lot too. Know how their relationship is with their mothers and their fathers. You touched on that earlier.
Mhm.
You know, if a guy has issues with his mama, or he thinks she's the worst thing ever and talks about her like she's crazy, guess what's gonna happen? 10-0 if he's in a relationship with you. And you see these signs, but people overlook the signs, you know, and you have to pay attention. You have to understand what you're looking at, and you have to know, the red flags when they're there. I
Red
if
flags, red blankets.
there are red flags on both sides, the women and the men. I had women say to me before, people think I play football or whatnot because I'm a big guy, 6'5", work out all the time, just a big guy. And so people who I would talk to would assume I'm a ball player automatically. Automatically. And then if I drive a nice car, it's a hands down, I'm a ball player. Even I've had couples that sit there at tables and they were looking at me and they'll walk up to me and say, "Yeah, we were trying to figure out who you play for. Do you play for the Falcons? This." And I just started laughing because I said, I'm an actor, producer, director. They're like,
I'm not an athlete, man.
So you don't play basketball? You don't play football? You don't do? I said no. They said, well, you should play for the Falcons because they need help. I just died laughing every time. but I think for me, I love love. I love everything about being in love with someone. I love the whole dating and spending time together and taking trips and just going out, having fun, eating dinner, talking, getting to know each other. All that stuff is beautiful to me. I never focus on the sexual aspect of it. I let that happen when it happens. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people get into it that aren't ready. Because men have their objectives. Some women have their objectives. And they have that one goal and once they complete that goal, then they turn into the worst person in the world. So you have to understand and know what this person's goal is. And a lot of times they'll say, the guy start talking to you the first day and say, you want to come over, Netflix and chill? The first day.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, you know what that is.
Yeah, whether or not you choose to acknowledge it. Hello, red blanket. To tap on what you said, people will get with you and just assume you're going to cheat and assume you're going to be the worst.
Yeah.
That level of projection is people will mirror back to you what you are to yourself or areas in which you lack, right? So if you think someone is the worst person, in the world, you have your guards up, then number one, you have not healed. That just shows that you have not healed from something in your past. That's something you need to work on because you are going to go into the dating field or into this relationship with ill intent. You have the intention to hold somebody accountable for an act that they have not done, and that is not fair.
Right.
So you are creating, a war, right? And somebody's not even prepared to attend this fight. They don't even know they're in this battle. That's all in your head, right?
Exactly.
You have that, and then I think, it's also important to see the dynamic of people's families and see their relationships, but also see how people digest that, right? So for me, I am not close to my biological father or my biological mother. Okay. However, because a lot was allowed to happen to me. You know what I mean? Okay. That whole family, I have that like to the T, right? And so for my peace of mind, I don't interact with them very much, right? You can't do anything with people who are in denial other than leave them in the boat with the paddle by themselves to go up the Shit Creek River, right? On their own. However, I love them both. And I release them with love and forgive them. And when they are ready to be accountable, transparent, and honest with themselves and with me, then we can have a conversation as two adults with a respectful understanding and a time and space for healthy conversation, right? But I don't have this grudge against them because that's not good for me.
Right.
And how I was raised and, is night and day from how I raised my own child, right? My son, will be 19 this year, I was completely different. I was like helicopter mom a little bit. Where are you going? Who are you going with? What's the person name? Who are you dropping? Let me see the door. Let me meet the parents. No, you can't spend it. They can spend that over here. Like different things like that based off of my experiences. But if someone said, you know what, she doesn't have the best relationship with her biological parents, I don't know how I feel about that.
I'm still trying to get past the fact you have a 19-year-old, but continue.
I'm 39. I'm a happy 39. Yeah,
you do not look. I'm just like, wow.
39.
Had no idea.
We get better with time, So
yeah, and I have a 26-year-old. People don't even.
But with that being said, there has to be a level of growth, maturity, and you have to have those conversations, right? So I would like some of the conversations, if you have empty conversations, that doesn't help anybody, right?
Right.
But if you ask the questions and just say, can we have a conversation, full transparency, no filter? These things are important to me. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste mine. And while we're enjoying each other's company, there are some things that I would like to know, right? And if grown people can have those type of healthy conversations, you can save yourself a lot of hurt that may happen in the future because you didn't ask the question that needed to be asked in the beginning. People's morale, their values, their principles, integrity and character traits that, are core principles in their life. What are your non-negotiables? One of the questions that I like to ask people is, what does loving you look like? If you can't describe to me what loving you looks like, because that you're telling me you're not loving on yourself. And I don't want to love somebody that doesn't want to love themselves. I mean, I can love you, through Christ, but I don't want to have a relationship with someone who does not love themselves. Who's not patient, who's not kind, who holds grudges, who criticizes themselves really bad and speaks negatively about themselves. I mean, those love languages.
And there's a lot of people like that too.
A lot, right?
Yeah.
And so, but you want me to come and love you like I love myself? You don't even love you. In that way, you can't even tell me how to love you because you haven't taken that time to know you.
Exactly.
And there's so much busyness of dating somebody and being booed up and even for the girls that are just like, I'm about to have a hot girl summer. How about you have just a peaceful one where you take time to, have a warm girl summer and warm up to yourself and get to know who you are and get to know what you like and really take the time to assess where you are in your life and what you want. Are you loving you? Do you like your life? Do you like who you are? Are you your own friend?
Right.
If you met you in the streets, would you want to love you? Would you want to be in a relationship with you?
Right.
Would you want to be glued, and be your spouse? You know what I mean? I'm able to answer those questions. So it's really important for me to ask those questions to other people because during growth, mistakes, like I said, mistakes are bound to be made. But those core principles and those values, and you can't really undo the work that you've done within yourself. That's probably the best investment that you're going to make.
And those
you can undo that learning. You can ignore it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
those questions that you just said, a lot of those questions, those questions will get to the point of any relationship right off the bat, any date. Once you start asking those questions, and you can tell the ones that are who know who they are and the ones who don't really quick. What's your short-term goals? What's your long-term goals? Where do you and like you said, I had someone ask me that before. What is love to you? And I asked her the same thing. When I asked her the same thing, she quoted, love is patient, love is kind, that whole verse in the Bible verbatim. about what love is, or she said, I think that is love for me. And I said, okay, very good.
The follow-up
Because
question is, do you show those things to you?
exactly.
Because you're supposed to love your neighbor as yourself, right? I'm the neighbor.
Right.
How do you love yourself so that I know how you're going to love me?
Right. And some people make it hard. Don't. Some people make it hard to love them, but you're supposed to love your neighbor like you love yourself. You're absolutely correct. And I think, and I was telling someone this before. It's, to me, I'm gonna tell you my daughter, one thing she said to me, like, I always say love you, and she said love you back. But one of the things she said to me one day, we were just playing together. She was on me and we were just wrestling around. And she stopped and she looked at me. She said, I like you, Daddy. And I just melted, because I don't even know what made her say that, but it was just, she just felt the need to say it, at that. And she said, I like you. And I say to anybody, when I talk to older people who've been together for years, and I say, what was it that kept y'all together this long? They never say it was love. That's not the first thing that come out their mouth. They always say, I like my wife, or I like my husband. And I think when you like someone, you can drive on a long trip and just be quiet and just be happy that they sitting next to you. Or you can talk and just talk about anything.
Oh, it's so sweet.
You can just talk about anything, and be the best of friends. Like, when you like someone, I think that's deeper to me than loving someone, because to love someone is a choice. You can choose to love this person like you love yourself. You know what I'm saying? But to like somebody, that's a whole nother ball game. Because it's something about that person has to make you like them.
Yeah.
Something, their spirit, their quality of life, how they breathe, their energy, because I'm definitely huge on energy as well. Your energy has to,
Yeah.
it has to mean something.
Matched.
Right.
And
Right.
you wanna marry your friend, right?
Exactly.
You want to marry your friend, someone that you like, because Jesus said you lay your life down for your friend, right?
Yes.
For your friends.
For your friend. Yep.
So it's you can like your friend, you can respect your friend, you don't stab your friends in the back. I can love you and not want to be with you. Like, I can love you and not like you.
Exactly.
You know what I
I say
mean?
that all the time.
It's just like, so I'm gonna love you from a distance,
Right.
over there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, over
Yeah.
there. So I think that that's really something that is key. So, with Life Matters, life standing for loving yourself first, how can people learn to make life matters important and valuable in their dating life? Like, why is self-love key and important? And how do they do it? Like, what are the actions that you would tell somebody to take while they're dating, or on their road to possibly going from in a relationship to marriage?
Well, I say the number one thing is communication. Talk about the stuff that's tough to talk about. See how their reaction is going to be. When you talk about those things, because one thing about life is that you never know what's going to come, and so if you're just one way a whole time that you're dating, and then y'all decide to get married, you get married, and then all of a sudden, boom, something tragic happens. You've never talked to this person to know how they would even react in those situations. What if one of you got really sick and can't work anymore, and now the main foundation of the main finances is cut, and you have to downsize? How are you going to react to that? How do you feel about money? Is money everything to you? It's a lot of people that say that. money rules everything around me, you know, like, you know, and when people when people say that, they mean that, you know.
Yeah.
Everything they do is about money. So if you come into their life and you're taking money from them because you want this and you want that, then guess where you're going to be sooner
Right.
than later.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you come into their life and you boost them up so that they can make even more money, that's bound to last forever. But at the end of the day, money shouldn't be the essence of everything that you deal with. It shouldn't be the essence of your relationship. Because if that money ever diminishes for any reason, both of you gonna fall to the wayside. I think COVID taught a lot of people how much you really like the person you're with.
Yeah.
They said the voice was
About them, you really know.
yeah. They said the voice was at a high during
Yeah.
COVID. It was at a high because now you stuck with that person in the house
All day, every day.
all day. You have to talk to this person. You have to walk past this person. You get up and go like like there's no getting up, going to work and everything. You was in the house with this person for days on end. You if you don't like this person and you just dealing with this person, it's gonna show really quick.
Yeah. And it's
You know,
unhealthy.
Because some people they last because they're not together all the time. One person is over here half the day, the other person's over here half the day. Now you're in the same house. What you gonna do? You know, how much do you really love this person? How much do you really like this person?
Right. I would
You
say
know,
that my advice of giving to people is when you meet someone, take the time to get to know them, right?
mm-hmm.
You know, create time. If you want to spend that time with them, spend it effectively, right?
Mm-hmm.
And have those conversations, because no matter what happens in life, because life happens to everyone,
Mm-hmm.
you can say, no, I know my spouse, you know, I know him. I know his character. I
Right,
know his strengths. I know his weaknesses.
right,
I know his flaws. You know, I know his insecurities.
right.
I know what he likes to eat. I know what he's allergic to. I know,
Mm-hmm.
like, you want to be able to know,
Right.
right? And you know how to ask those types of questions and get into, you know, the nitty-gritty and the crevices of knowing, because you recognize what it took for you to know yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now you can mirror that and apply that same grace, that same compassion, that same understanding, that level of communication with no condemnation and no judgment. Um, and offer it and offer forgiveness as you learn. And I always say people can make mistakes, but I'm really, really big about ill intent.
Mm-hmm.
If you intend to hurt me, but your action hurt me, then let's talk about the action. I forgive you because I know you have no ill intent, because I know you, right?
Right.
Know you. I know you love me, and I know you wouldn't hurt or harm me. However, the action, you know, that hurts. So let's talk about that, so we can work on the actions, and we can change and grow from that and learn from that. And we don't have to lose who we are, value ourselves, interrupt our healthy boundaries, but move forward through growth and healing. And I can say
Mm-hmm.
you because I know you and you know
Right.
me. And now
Right.
we've learned something else, and we're constantly learning something else from each other. So I would tell people, definitely, when you're looking for a relationship, it's important to be mentally and emotionally stable, available,
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable. And you cannot be those things to someone else if you are not that for yourself. If
Yeah.
you struggle badly to do it with you,
Right.
this is not the time to be dating.
Right.
Because you're inviting them into a world of chaos.
Right. I would also say in dating, understand their religion, their background, who do they believe in God? Is God even in their life? Are they a prayer? Do they pray for it? I am a huge prayer. I pray all the time. I pray for this interview. You know what I'm saying? Like, I pray all the time. And it's become so common that people around me be like, "Where are you gonna pray?" Because they know I'm gonna pray, you know. And so I think when you get to a point in a relationship and you get serious and you decide to pray together, you know what I'm saying? I think that's one of the biggest things to pray, and pray for understanding of each other. Pray for, being able to deal with each other when they going through different things, because everybody goes through something, at different times. And you just don't know what those are, and sometimes they're new to you and you got to figure out how to deal with certain things, know. So, pray for understanding, pray for healing, pray for, good communication, pray that, God just continue to lift y'all up together and that y'all do the right things and make the right decisions, along the way, because there's a lot of things that can come into play that can tear you apart. When you get into a relationship for whatever reason, and it's a good relationship for whatever reason, all your exes, all these different people just come out of the woodworks trying to connect with you,
Yeah.
And you have to know how to deal with those things. You have to know how to, focus on what's important to you and not just think with the wrong equipment. What I'm saying? For men, So
have some type of, conversation about
right.
your faith base, and then just
Absolutely.
Is that for you? And it's not, we can honestly say, I don't think that I am your husband. I don't think that I am you're absolutely amazing. But I don't want to try to take something that does not belong to me. And I want the right person to find me. And I will not be found if I am unavailable.
Right.
And I think that those are some great things to look for.
Mm-hmm.
This was such a good conversation.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
I'm happy that you came on. We finally made it due to all technical difficulties. The devil was a liar.
Yeah, I'm sitting here like, what? It's an hour already.
Wow. Yeah. So thank you so much, and tell everybody where to find you and start following you, because you should be following him.
Yeah, my name is Wardell Richardson. You can find me on Instagram under official Wardell Richardson, WARDELL Richardson. You can find me under my name on Facebook, under my name on Snapchat. Everything has my name, so you can't not find me. I am everywhere.
I'll put the links and all that good stuff down below so that they can click on it when they watch it. So it was such a blessing. I know it's nighttime.
And I've been following you for a long time. You are awesome. I listen to all your messages. You just have such a great message. You're always lively and stuff, and you're absolutely. I look at your picture stuff, beautiful. Just everything about you. So congratulations on everything you're doing. I think it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. So congrats.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we will talk to you at another time. Remember, life matters.
Bye.
Bye.